Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Bruiser on the side of Armageddon right here. Got snow, sleet, everything coming down. Expecting 20 inches of snow coming up in the next day or so. That's okay. Sit back, relax, listen to your radio. We got the Stones, the Who, Van Halen, Boston, and more. But first, it's a Supernatural Wednesday. And that means only one thing. We need a co-host, and he's right over there. He's big, he's cuddly, he's ready for this show, unlike me. No, I'm just kidding. It's the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear. It's the Beer City Bruiser himself. Bruiser, how you doing?
That was a heck of an intro, man. Heck of an intro. And it brought me back to the days of leaving high school and listening to the afternoon guy go on and on and on, especially when a big storm was coming.
You know, around here we had school closings starting last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were. We've gotten to the point now where Minnesotans are no longer hardy. It used to be you would get up, there was already 6 inches of snow on the ground, and you would go, oh, well, are we going to school or not? And you turn on WCCO, or you turn on one of your local radio stations, and they'd say there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, and it looks like you're still getting on the bus 2 hours late. And you'd go, oh my God, 6 inches of snow, we're still getting on 2 hours late. Yeah, we're not that hardy anymore. Now it's the threat of snow and everybody closes down.
Only on the threat of snow?
Yes, just the threat of snow now. And we're all closing down. Our kids are too wishy-washy. They can't take it anymore, Bruiser. They just know it's going to snow. Like, what am I going to do?
You're going to go to school and you're going to learn is what you're going to do.
Well, now they've got distance learning and they can all jump on their computers and they get in their iPads and they can learn from home. So it's not a big deal. We can all sit at home and learn. Yay!
Which I'm glad wasn't around when I was a kid.
Right?
When we left school, you know what I mean? Or if you were sick, or that was like your day.
That's right.
You know?
That was when you got do you remember the little red blocks? I think K-Tel or somebody made them, and you could make a snow fort out of blocks.
Oh, yeah. You stuffed the snow in there.
Yeah.
You could stack them up. Yeah, the snow castle bricks is what they were called.
Yeah.
I remember at Toys R Us, you can get like a pack of like 12.
Yeah. Well, we had one of those. We had just one. We were poor. We couldn't afford the pack of 12. But we would use just the one, and it would take us all day. But we'd build this giant wall fort. And then we would make snowballs and throw them at people and hide behind our wall fort, the Great Wall of Snow. So, yeah, Minnesota.
We used to take it, and if we saw a parked car, like our neighbor's parked car, we'd bury their car in snow.
Oh, nice.
We were little punks.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, when we got to driving age, we realized, wow, we were really annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So were we.
Like, we were a big inconvenience.
Yeah.
It was funny at the time, and now it's not as funny.
Yeah, we probably should have been in school. Yeah. That's probably why they sent us to school in 6 inches of snow.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'd be off the streets.
Well, down here, if there's a threat of freezing, they close snow or close school.
Really?
But I found out why. They don't have ice trucks down here.
That's true. They don't.
So they don't have plows or ice trucks. So a threat of freezing, that's enough. But up in Minnesota, I mean, isn't that all you guys have is ice trucks?
Yeah, well, that's all we have, ice trucks and plows, and they're out all the time. Yeah.
Like constantly.
Yeah. You're never in, especially like 2 hours after a major snowfall, you're never in danger of going off the road.
No.
They're out constantly.
So these kids need to go to school.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. That's just all there is to it. Well, the thing they fear is the rural routes. I have to be careful when I say that because it'll sound like oral routes.
I was going to say, huh?
The rural routes. Because when you get maybe 60 miles outside the Twin Cities, that's where it starts to get a little shaky because you've got, some dirt roads and stuff like that where it's harder to get out. But it's, we become urban sprawl is a real thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, even when you're 60 miles outside the Twin Cities, people are still calling themselves a suburb of the Twin Cities.
Which is not a suburb.
No, it's not. But they're like, we're a suburb of the Twin Cities. You're Cambridge. Cambridge is not a suburb of the Twin Cities. But they're
trying to make it like, you talk to somebody, hey, where are you at? Where do you live in Illinois? And they're like, oh, I live in Joliet. Oh, I live here. No, you live in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's getting that ridiculous. I live in the Twin Cities. Where do you live? Oh, I live in Isani. That's not. Yeah, that's not. Or I live in Elk River. We're a suburb of the Twin Cities. Elk River is not a. No, you live in the sticks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. In fact, we never used to call Blaine. I lived in Blaine for the longest time, and Blaine was never a suburb of Minneapolis, St. Paul. We were the sticks. We were the boondocks.
There.
And now oh no, we're a suburb. You are?
I don't get why. What's such a big deal? Who cares?
Yeah. I don't know.
There's no like tax breaks on your housing or anything.
No, exactly. Yeah. You're right. So, yeah, but urban sprawl is real. But and that's the housing market here on Supernatural News.
Look at that. We went from a weather report to throwing around to the Stones.
Yep.
To housing reports.
Yeah, there you go.
We're covering all of that.
Speaking of programming, by the way, check out yesterday's Urban Legends Stranger Truths. Bob Dennis has a heck of a program yesterday.
Okay.
Having to do with the real meaning behind the Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Did you know that there's an esoteric meaning behind the Wizard of Oz?
No, I didn't.
It's pretty involved. I won't spoil it for you, but Frank Baum actually had a true meaning behind the Wizard of Oz and why he wrote it. It's actually about a spiritual journey.
Really?
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. It's about 5 minutes long. It's a microcast. It won't take up much of your day, if any at all. And by the time you get done listening to this, Bruiser, you'll be blown away.
Well, guess what I'm doing when I'm tanning later.
There you
go. That's when I always catch up on those. Because like you said, they're little 5-minute clips.
That's right.
So I can listen to 2 or 3 in a tanning session.
Exactly. So if you don't know where to find Bob Dennis's Urban Legends Stranger Truths, it's real simple. Just go to darknessradioshow.com. There's a tab right there where you can listen to it. If you've got Swellcast, you can find it by just looking up at Urban Legends. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Big show today, Bruiser. Believe it or not one UFO story today.
Not one?
Not one.
With all the stuff that's going on in space right now, there's not one thing.
There's not one thing.
Because of this show now, like it's funny whenever I get my like suggested ads and stuff, it ranges from beer and boobies to like just idiots in the news, to like NASA wanting to do stuff, to like demon found here. It's like the whole plethora of just insanity.
Yeah. No, not one UFO story today, which that's
amazing.
I was shocked. Well, there's so much good stuff out there right now. You know what it is? It seems like to me when we get to Christmas, there's in the holiday season in general, for those who want to be politically correct, the holiday season, we get so much strange stuff that happens. And people always say, Halloween is when the veil thins. I don't think so.
No, I was going to say, I think Christmas time is. Yeah. Like, you always talk about the spirits and the Holy Spirit and all that. That all happened around Christmas time.
Yeah. I mean, you look at A Christmas Carol, one of the most famous stories of all. Dickens talks about the spirits coming back and the spirits, having to do with Scrooge. I tend to think that that Christmas time is a time when we think back most upon our loved ones that have passed. Mm-hmm. So we reach back to the past and we reach back to memories and fond memories of those that have gone before us. We're the ones who are calling back to spirits of the past. So I think we're bringing all that forward. And I think that's why we have some of these things happening as it is right now. So we've actually got 3 or 4 stories that have to do with ghosts today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what also helps is holidays brings out a lot of anxiety.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think with that anxiety out there, if you have a guardian angel or if you have a loved one that's looking over you, they're going to come to you, you know, when you most need them.
Yeah.
And if all this anxiety's going on, you know what I mean, along with what you were saying, you know, you're putting in, oh, I miss them, this and that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it's like a perfect combination.
Yep. But the first thing we're going to start with today, Bruiser.
We're not going with ghosts, huh?
Not going to do with ghosts. It's going to have to do with the holiday display.
Oh, is this one that we covered yesterday also?
No. This we'll get to that story in a little while. This has to do with our friends at the Satanic Temple.
Of course, the Satanic Temple.
Yes, they have decided that they're bringing back their holiday display. Of course, they believe in having equal rights during the holiday as well.
Yeah.
They've decided that their holiday display is going to be back at the Illinois Capitol Rotunda next to the manger and menorah. They have put together an interesting holiday display. It would be downright offensive to Christians. Let's just put it that way. The Satanic Temple of Illinois has debuted a new display in the Illinois Capitol Rotunda. They did this past Tuesday, taking its place next to the annual Christmas and Hanukkah displays. Now, keep in mind, folks, for most Christians out there, it's a little offensive. To say a little offensive is like saying I'm going to have a little bit of turkey on Thanksgiving. But their idea, and mainly they get away with this in certain states, including the state of Illinois, where they filed enough injunctions where the state is like, fine, we're tired of dealing with these injunctions of you wanting to put up your holiday displays and things. Just go ahead and do it. We don't want one more lawsuit. So they can put up their displays because there has to be equal representation of all religions in the state capitol. And they've filed those injunctions and won those cases. So now in Illinois, the Satanic Temple of Illinois has got the right to display whatever they want for the holiday,
right? Especially
for what you would say would be Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is they're celebrating for the holiday. So the Satanic Temple of Illinois has debuted that new display in the Illinois Capitol Rotunda. They did that this past week, taking its place next to the annual Christmas and Hanukkah displays. For Christmas, that means the Springfield Nativity Committee has once again placed a manger scene featuring Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. It was dedicated in a November 30th ceremony that included an appearance by State Senator Darren Bailey, the unsuccessful Republican candidate for governor in last month's election. For the Hanukkah display, the Lubavitch Chabad of Illinois placed a menorah with one light bulb to be lit for each day of Hanukkah. The organization plans to have a ceremony with public officials in Chicago just before the holiday this year. Okay. On Tuesday of this past week, Minister Adam of the Satanic Temple of Illinois, who declined to share his last name for security purposes, I don't blame him. I can imagine there's quite a few mad individuals.
Some hate mail coming his way.
Sure. Was joined by about 15 temple members to dedicate this year's display. It consists of a crocheted snake, first time I've ever seen this, sitting on a book and a pile of apples crocheted by temple members.
A crocheted snake.
Yep.
Sitting on
a book. Nope, sitting on a book. Okay.
On a book
on crocheted apples. In a basket. I'll show you the picture here in a minute here, Bruiser. I know it doesn't help our audience any, but I'll give you the picture here, Bruiser, so you can get an idea. Every year we do a holiday display and a show of unity and religious pluralism within the state capitol rotunda, Adam said. And this year we wanted to focus on the book bans that people have been trying to do all over the country. Now, when you see this, I know you're going to look at this, Bruiser, and think this is a definite affront to Christianity.
Yeah.
When you see it. The book on which the serpent is perched is Polish mathematician Nicholas Copernicus's On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, which is a 1543 work that posited that the then revolutionary idea that the Earth revolves around the sun.
Wait.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of spitting in the face of again, Christianity saying that it's a backwards religion.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. It's just, I get the Satanic Temples, like what they want to do. Mm-hmm. But the thing that makes me mad, for instance, this holiday's coming up, so they want to be represented or whatever.
Yes.
They only do that, if you notice, they only do it on the major Christian holidays. Because learning from the girl you interviewed a while back, they have different holidays that they celebrate. See, why aren't they putting up their relic or their thing that time? You know what I mean?
Why aren't they, like, if they really wanted to be serious about it, why wouldn't they put a little statue of Baphomet or something like that up?
Exactly, because that's them saying this is our holiday. We love, whatever. Here it is. Exactly. No, they only wait till the Christians are putting their stuff out so they can do it because they want to be equal and all that. But no, it's them. They want to. They're that annoying little brother that keeps showing up when you're playing with your friends. Right. You just want to be cool with your friends and go away. That's what they're doing.
That's right. This is why they don't get taken seriously.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like I agree with what they're saying, that everything should be represented, and they have I hate to say it, but they have a good political stance. I don't agree with the religious beliefs, but you know what I mean? Like, hey, if they can do this, we can do this. Right. That's fine, but they're failing at it, I think.
Right. Adam said that the Satanic Temple has 7 tenets, the first being compassion and empathy. I don't buy this for a minute, toward all creatures in accordance with reason. And the second being that the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. Other tenets focus on bodily autonomy, respect for the freedoms of others, and belief in science, human fallibility and redemption, and nobility in action and thought. Previous Satanic Temple displays included statues of a hand wrapped in a serpent holding an apple. Again, we go back to the
serpent and the apple.
That's right. We go back to a biblical reference, and a likeness of a human-like baby goat. Rabbi Mir Moskowitz, regional director of the statewide Lubavitch Chabad organization, said the menorah has been on display at the Capitol for about 18 years, and the organization maintains other displays throughout the state. It's a special year, Moskowitz said, because every 7th year on the Jewish calendar represents a Hakel year, a year of gatherings, reminiscent of the historic 7th year gathering at the Temple of Jerusalem. And to commemorate that, we also try to find opportunities this year to come together, whether it's the family coming together, whether it's friends and neighbors, whether it's coworkers, Moskowitz said in a phone call. So I would urge everyone, in addition to the menorah lighting, which was the primary celebration of the holiday, to find the opportunities this year to come together. On the Capitol display, one bulb will be lit each day of Hanukkah, which begins Sunday evening, December 18th, and runs through December 26th. Moskowitz said the part of the celebration of Hanukkah is the celebration of religious freedom. So we are grateful that we have this opportunity in this wonderful country to go public with the menorah, he said, noting that local Chabad centers can provide a menorah to anyone who needs one. The nativity scene, meanwhile, has been on display for at least 14 years during Christmas time. Tom Brecha, the president and chief counsel of the St. Thomas More Society, and member of the Springfield Nativity Committee, said the faux marble statues were purchased from Italy from a supplier to the Vatican. The manger is handmade. He said the precedent for religious displays in public spaces in Illinois stems from a 1989 court decision regarding a nativity scene at Daley Plaza in Chicago. That precedent was honored when it came to the state capitol, he said, when advocates framed it under a free speech lens. While the Capitol Satanic Temple display has received pushback from some religious groups in the past, Brecha said free speech applies to everybody. And I think, frankly, it only underscores the beauty of the message of the Christmas nativity display, which is a message of hope and care and renewal, he said in a phone call. All displays are flanked by a sign stating that the state may not legally censor the public space, but Henry Haupt, a spokesperson for the Illinois Secretary of State, Jesse White, said groups wishing to place displays on the rotunda must fill out a special event form and submit it to the Secretary of State Physical Services Department. Displays must meet certain public safety requirements established by the Secretary of State, according to Haupt. Temporary displays of this nature erected in a public space in the Capitol Rotunda are protected by the First Amendment, Haupt said in an email. The U.S. Constitution protects freedom of speech, which remains a hallmark and cherished principle of this country. As for the Capitol Christmas tree, the Secretary of State's office said it is owned by the state, but it predates Secretary White, and there's no record as to who purchased it or donated it. So, okay, Bruiser, I'm gonna show you a picture of exactly, and this is kind of what, and there's a crocheted basket underneath it. So okay, so there's a crocheted snake. You've got the book, the Copernicus book. Then you've got the crocheted apples underneath, and then the crocheted basket. So it's kind of, in itself, when you look at it, Bruiser, tell me what your first thoughts are.
I see the attack on, not the tongue-in-cheek poke at Christianity.
Yeah.
Because you have the serpent and the apples.
Yeah.
And then I also see something too, because they're throwing science out there too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of got its, and when you zoom in, let me see if I can zoom in on the picture on the book and see.
And nothing there.
Okay. Now see the passage that it's open to?
Yeah.
See how it kind of, it's open right to the passage of Copernicus, where it's kind of, it's showing you that they believe the Earth rotates around the sun. So
right.
it's kind of, it's that slap in the face, that direct slap in the face. You can't mistake it for anything else.
Yeah.
That
and it doesn't, like, okay, so the nativity scene represents some, because that's, the birth of Jesus, all that.
Sure.
The whatchamacallit, the Jewish, why am I blanking on the menorah?
Mm-hmm.
It means something. About the 7 days, and they did whatever each faith. This, nobody knows the meaning of. Just looks like a slap in the face.
Well, I think it's got layers. So there's the overtly, there's the overt meaning, which is obviously the snake and the apples and the slap in the face to the Bible.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's the underlying meaning, which is Copernicus and the Earth revolving around the sun, which is the backwards, the meaning of the religion being a backwards belief in this day and time when we're supposed to be a scientific society.
Okay.
So it has layers and meanings.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be, if you're a free thinking person, if you're a person who has, I believe they're suggesting, if you have half a brain and you are thinking at all, you get the meaning of what this display is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like I said, they're that annoying little brother that you're just trying to hang out with your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wants to hang out too, because mom said you had to,
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. That's what it is. And with that, I think we've paid enough attention to it, but so our friends at the Satanic Temple have struck once again, and they got their holiday display up. So there you go.
Good for them. They fought for something and legally did it without anybody getting hurt.
There you go. We move on. A man left in a body bag for 5 hours after was left in a body bag for 5 hours after medics mistakenly declared him dead.
Oops.
I shake as I read this because this is my worst nightmare. It really is. I'm terrified. Being buried alive or forgotten in a morgue or being trapped in a body bag. These are, I forget what movie it was that I saw a couple years ago where the antagonist in the movie buries someone in a coffin that's got the bell up top.
Yeah.
But they're scratching on the inside of the coffin. And I'm trying to remember what recent movie that was. And I couldn't look. I couldn't look at the movie. I just, it drove me insane.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we've talked about the bone soup thing in the past. This is the bone soup portion of our program, by the way. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. I'm claustrophobic for one.
Yes, I am too. Yeah.
And for two, yeah, like there was a television show where a guy was given some sort of drug where he appeared dead, and they show him on the morgue table, and they're about to do the autopsy on him, and he's like, but it's in his thoughts. He's screaming, "I'm not dead. I'm not dead." Yeah. And then when they cut him, they see he bleeds, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this guy's not dead."
Was it Metallica and Justice for All where he's mute and deaf?
The one video.
Yeah, and he's screaming on the inside, but no one can hear him. That to me is a nightmare as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just all of that just terrifies me. Maybe that's why I got into broadcasting, because I could be heard. No idea. The headline says they were dead wrong. That's a horrible, horrible joke.
And body bags aren't they airtight?
I don't know that they're airtight, but they're pretty tight.
Yeah, I thought you could suffocate in one of them. I might be wrong.
Evidently not, because this guy was found breathing.
Okay.
In a scene straight out of a zombie movie, a Brazilian man was discovered awake and breathing in a body bag 5 hours after paramedics mistakenly declared him dead. The funeral home worker called me, desperately asking me to go there. That my brother was alive, the victim's sister, and I apologize for trying to pronounce her name here, which is Aparecida, I believe, told Jam Press of the premature death pronouncement, which occurred late last month at the hospital Estadual. Wait, it's more than that. It's Estadual do Centro Norte in Goiano. By the way, I got one complaint that said I read like a third grader.
Well, you go out of your way to let people know that your eyes plays tricks on you, and
well, I'm half blind in one eye too.
Yeah.
So I think I do pretty good for a half blind third grader.
And not only that, but the stuff you screw up on is like international names, where unless you're from that region of the country, nobody knows.
Yeah. So take that, asshat. Say Estadual do Centro Norte in Goiano with half blind eyes.
See, like it's not like it's like, Sister Mary Catherine's on the corner,
Yeah. The pre-mortem man, here we go. Jose Ribeiro da Silva, says the half-blind guy who has only a third grade reading level, 62 years old, had been declared dead on November 29th, with officials listing the official cause as complications from mouth cancer. Ooh, that's ouch. Yeah, my great-grandfather had mouth and jaw cancer. He actually had his jaw removed.
Isn't that what happened to Bobby Heenan? Wasn't it mouth, jaw, and throat?
Yeah, and his entire jaw disintegrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a horrible way. It's a horrible way to go. The hospital even handed his family a death certificate. Aparecida said she received the news at around 8 p.m., whereupon her brother's corpse was released to the mourning family so they could start preparing the funeral arrangements. Little did they know their beloved relative was still very much alive. Oh, body bag. I can't think about it.
Can you imagine being the person you're going to open the body bag, and then when you open it, there's a guy who goes, "Hola."
Oh, Jesus. I would jump about 10 feet. I
would need a new pair of pants and probably another pair of pants after that.
Oh, God. From there, De Silva spent a grueling 5 hours in the body bag as he was ferried from the medical facility to a funeral home, which was located over 62 miles away in the municipality of Rialma. Now, okay, so you're being ferried in a body bag in this vehicle. So is there a window between where the body is, or a cargo hold, or
I was gonna say, you always hear in like these horror movies, the body bag falling down, them stopping the car. So why didn't he do something?
Yeah. Yeah. How is it the driver doesn't hear somebody flailing around and screaming?
He's blasting that Wasp single that's going out right now.
I guess, right?
He's got it full blast.
Guantanamera. Guantanamera. It wasn't
and the body in the back. Maybe he's got good rhythm.
Maybe
he's actually like falling on the beat. So the driver just thinks, "Oh, hey, it's a good beat."
Hey, whatever's falling back there is to the beat. Guantanamera. It wasn't until 1 a.m. the following day that mortuary workers realized that there had been a terrible mistake. No shit.
Oops.
A flabbergasted employee had to open the bag to see that the victim's eyes were open. And he was still breathing, albeit with some difficulty, like a reverse scenario of Weekend at Bernie's.
Like I said, I just picture the opening and him just going, "Hola."
Hola, ¿cómo está? Although he wasn't like Senior Wences.
I was going to say, when he turned into Gabriel Iglesias or whatever his name is.
It's okay. It's all right. They subsequently alerted emergency services, who took De Silva to the hospital where he is currently located, while the dead man's family, that's in quotes, was also informed of the fiasco.
Do you think he went, don't take me to the same hospital I was just at?
Yeah, I don't want to
do a new one.
Don't want to go back there. They're really bad at judging the dead. They were appalled over the horrible error the family was. It was unbelievable that happened. My brother spent 5 hours in a plastic bag cold, lamented a Parashare, who filed a complaint with police on November 30th. Such a situation is totally unacceptable. The catastrophe had reportedly occurred after one of the physicians who had been administering De Silva's oral cancer treatments thought he was dead due to a lack of respiration. However, he had actually been breathing the whole time through a tracheotomy inserted into an incision in the front of his neck.
So they checked his respiratory rate in the wrong part.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you check oxygen level?
You would think.
Yeah.
How about just checking his heartbeat?
Yeah, that would, right. Second, right?
Like I'm not a doctor to display one on TV, but isn't that what a stethoscope's for?
Yeah, there's that. Even if they can't afford them fancy machines that they hook me up to every time I go to the hospital, stethoscope works just fine. Because you can take it and put it on his lungs, and you can hear the air going through his lungs.
I was going to say, can't you do that? And you can go down to his belly. I mean, you can go anywhere.
Right, yeah.
Like, man, this guy's still alive.
Yeah, funny. The doctor responsible has since been released, while the hospital's technical director traveled to Rialma to assist Jose's family members. Officials have since launched a probe into the pre-mortem mishap. In a similar calamity in 2020, oh God, there was a similar one.
Oh no.
A Paraguay mother miraculously sprang back to life in a body bag after being pronounced dead by doctors earlier that day. Good God.
Avoid doctors at all costs.
Well, I can't.
In that country.
You're right. Yeah, I'm not going down there for any
How do you think that doctor's follow-up interview with like another hospital is going to be? Like, oh, doctor, whatever. This looks great. You have a great record. Why were you released from the last hospital?
Tracheotomy?
He just says it, putting his arms in the air like, tracheotomy?
You know how you get surveys from hospitals these days after you've had a stay? How would you like to get the survey from that hospital? Rate us, please.
Their Yelp reviews got to be terrible.
Oh, it's going to be horrible.
All they did was go in for a stub toe, and they put me in a body bag. So
I don't get it. It was just a simple sprain. I'm going to show you a picture between you and I here, Bruiser, when I read this story that, again, the whole bone soup thing, it's going to alarm you. I never want, even if I'm long dead, long gone, I never want anybody to peel the face off of me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Notre Dame.
No, at all.
Yeah, I know. I just brought up a disturbing, especially off my skull. I don't want the face peel off my skull. A Notre
Just
Dame.
make a death mask of me if you want to do it, you know?
Yeah. A nice plaster cast is fine. You don't.
Yeah, I'm dead. I'm not going to move.
This looks like somebody made this knight's skull a candy dish.
Well, they used to do that back in the day.
They made candy dishes out of knight skulls?
Yeah, like if they killed like the barbarians and stuff, whatever person they killed, they'd like make cups and stuff out of their skulls.
Well, this doesn't look like that. This literally looks like it's a lid to a candy dish. Like they just pull it back and trick or treat, everybody. Yeah, it looks sloppy. It looks like sloppy work. A Notre Dame sarcophagus was opened, revealing a knight with an elongated skull. Okay. We're going to 14th century France. Finding the remains of a high priest buried at the most sacred spot in Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral and all of medieval France seems to be a predictable discovery. However, unearthing a knight with an elongated skull came as something of a shock, and it would be. Not a lot of people in 14th century France had elongated skulls.
Really?
Yeah, you generally hear of that in ancient Egypt, but not 14th century France. The foundation stone of Notre Dame Cathedral was laid by Pope Alexander III in 1163 AD, but in 2019, a fire almost entirely destroyed it. After having spent the last 2 years securing its foundations, work began this year on repairing the oak spire that was unveiled on August 18th of 1859. The 19th century spire reached a height of 315 feet, which was 59 feet higher than the original 12th century spire, but it came crashing down in the aftermath of the 2019 blaze. It was directly beneath the spire floor where the transept crosses the nave that researchers identified several tombs containing hundreds of fragmented hands, feet, faces, and plants from stone statues. It was among these shattered relics that 2 well-preserved lead sarcophagi were discovered, buried at what represents the holiest site in all of medieval France. In April of this year, Professor Christophe, I believe it's Besnier, yes, the leader of the scientific team, told The Guardian that this discovery was both extraordinary and emotional. Ancient Origins reported in April that Dominique Garcia, the head of the National Institute of Archaeological Research, speculated that one of the lead sarcophagi probably belonged to a dignitary from the early 14th century. Now the team of French archaeologists has confirmed that Garcia's speculations were accurate, as they announced one coffin contains an elite canon of cathedral, while the other hosts a young cavalier or knight. Dominique Garcia was quick to remind that these human remains are not archaeological objects, for they were recovered from within a church, and therefore they will be treated with respect from beginning to end. Yet they opened them. I'm looking at it right now.
I was going to say, wait, so they opened them?
Yeah, they did. And I'm looking at a picture right now of them opening the lead sarcophagi. Why were they able to, if they're saying, no, this belongs to the religious, that's kind of like going in the graveyard and digging somebody up, right? Yes and no. They have to check the contents to make sure everything was intact.
So that's why they're able to open it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
The fragmented statues and 2 lead coffins were discovered beneath the floor of the transept crossing. The transept of a church separates the nave from the choir, belonging equally to the main nave access into the transept. Eric Krubase, I believe it is, professor of the biological anthropology of the University of, I'm not quite sure on the pronunciation of this. I'm not going to get into it. Said the 2 men were clearly important in their respective eras to have been buried in such prestigious tombs at the heart of the cathedral. Described as of remarkable scientific quality, both burials were found during a speculative subterranean dig before the installation of the 98-foot-high, 600-ton scaffold that was being used to replace the cathedral's fire-damaged spire. A report in The Guardian stated that one of the bodies belonged to a high priest who, after leading a sedentary life, died in 1710 AD. The second lead coffin was dated to the 14th century and contained a young, wealthy, and privileged noble. Buried 1 meter deep, the holy man was found with a brass plaque confirming he was Antoine de la Porte, the canon of Notre Dame Cathedral, and died on Christmas Eve of 1710 at the age of 83, which was old for that age.
That's very old.
Yeah. De la Porte was a clever, influential, and rich old priest who commissioned several works of art that are now in the Louvre. The second coffin was found to contain the remains of a man in his 30s, and the researchers say his pelvic bones suggest he was an experienced horseman. Not 4 horsemen, but yeah, but the horseman nonetheless. So he has been named Le Cavalier, the Knight. The Knight was interred at the foot of a large cross that was once displayed on the now destroyed rood screen that separated the chancel and nave, clergy and choir, from the congregation, poor people with diseases. Cloths and organic plant materials discovered in this burial suggest the Knight was embalmed, which the archaeologist. Moreover, the Knight was buried with a crown of flowers. It is speculated that the man was of the upper echelons of the 14th century French elite. The belief stems not from his floral crown, nor the fact that he was embalmed, and not even because he had the power to demand burial at the most sacred spot in Paris, but because the dead knight had a skull deformation, better known as an elongated skull. The knight had a deliberately deformed skull, resulting from having had a tight cloth band tied around his head during the first 3 months of his life, inducing the shape change. In the 1920s, Peruvian archaeologist Julio Tello, the father of Peruvian archaeology, uncovered hundreds of elongated Paracas civilization skulls dated to between 750 BC and 100 AD, and they have since been unearthed across the Middle East and Asia. It is generally agreed that cranial banding and the resulting elongated skulls were symbols of power practiced among controlling families in different countries. However, long after the practice died out in Peru, it continued up until the early 20th century in the region of Deux-Sèvres in western France. Here, too, the practice was a symbol of power among social elites, but it was also practiced among poorer families who tried to align their children with higher social classes. Interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So he must have been someone of power, or not power, but a wealth or something involved with Notre Dame in order to be buried there.
Yeah, most definitely. I tell you what, we'll take a break right here. When we come back, ghosts.
Yes,
we
love ghosts.
We'll talk about a story that we talked about yesterday. A Louisiana man claims he was chased by demons. Was he or wasn't he when he was arrested by police? We'll give you a clue. It's not as easy as you may think. We've also got a story about ghostly activity overseas that caused one city council to issue leaflets.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
To its townspeople. A ghost-like creature was caught in detail thanks to security cameras. We'll tell you about that and why it's so unusual from other camera catchings. And a man sees a nurse ghost standing outside his home, and now he sleeps with the light on. We'll tell you about that when we get back. It is a Supernatural News Wednesday. It's the Cruiser and the Bruiser right here on a Supernatural News Wednesday on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to Supernatural News on a Wednesday here on the best in paranormal podcasting, Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. That's the Beer City Bruiser. We're otherwise known as the Cruiser and the Bruiser right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. I just love stretching my
fire today, aren't you?
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe literally on fire. I don't know. No. You don't see any smoke behind me, do you?
I don't. Okay. I don't see anything.
All right. One guy,
which is not good to see in an airport, like I told you off air yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you had a little bit of a strange trip back, didn't you, from Green Bay, Wisconsin?
Yeah, my Mrs. Bruiser went with me, and she had actually a separate flight. And on her flight, they pull up into their gate ready to deboard, and the jet bridge comes over and it's on fire.
Yeah,
it's smoking.
My God.
So it took about an hour before she could get off the plane.
My God. You know what? Speaking of being on fire, we'll talk about. Speaking of being on fire there, Bruiser.
What's on fire, Cruiser?
You know what's on fire? That Ziggy Starpup you got there in the background with those NFL picks. I don't know why I go into the whole Cruiser deal. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the program.
Yes.
Because I tell you, that psychic pup ears did pretty darn well this week.
I was impressed.
Had it not been for one injury this week and one defense that couldn't seem to keep things straight, I think your pup would have only had 3 losses.
I know.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
I'm blown away. So we're doing it again.
Yeah,
we got to see.
We're going to do it again here. Ziggy's Picks, by the way, is on darknessradioshow.com. Ziggy has her own tab right there. You just scroll down the line at darknessradioshow.picks, and you can keep track with Ziggy's Picks. We're hoping to get draft picks on this deal. Draft picks and chewy.com.
We videoed it too.
Did you?
So yeah, we're trying to figure out how we can post that.
Okay.
We're trying to edit it and stuff, but we'll get it to you.
Yeah.
We have Mrs. Bruiser was filming how, so you see every pick is Ziggy picking the pick.
Right. Okay. So if you can get me the video, and I'll try to post that on our website so you can actually see Ziggy doing the pick.
Yep. We're going to do all the picks that we do with her. We want to record it because we didn't know how it was going to go. That's why we recorded the first time. And now our friends are like, how'd she do? And this is how she did.
Nice.
Like we're just all blown away.
Nice. She's such a cutie. So, and I took one of the cutest pictures you guys ever took of her, and I put it as the banner pic on the website. So
we printed that picture out and actually have it framed now. It's going to be going up right in this area.
Oh, nice. So, so Ziggy had a pretty good week. What was it? 7-5?
7-5. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
No, it was 8-4, wasn't it?
No, 7-5. It was 7-5.
Yeah, you're right. It was 7-5 because Monday night
the Cardinals blew it. Murray,
by halftime it looked good. I'm like, she's gonna take this, and then no.
Yeah, Murray ended up tearing his ACL.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was the only thing. Otherwise, I think the Cardinals would have won that game.
I do too.
Yeah.
I was flipping around on it, trying to get to it, and I had no intention. I didn't care about the two teams playing. It was I wanted to see how Ziggy did.
Right. I just wanted Ziggy to pull through on that game. And by the time
she still had a winning record, but it was like crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, because 8-4 would have been phenomenal. I mean, I blame Murray on this deal.
I do too.
Yeah, we need little.
I'm going to Phoenix in a couple weeks here for over the holidays, so I'll go find him.
Yeah, and have Ziggy go after him.
I will. I'll send her on him. That's the one, Ziggy.
Slather Murray in peanut butter and have Ziggy chase him, because that cost her a win. I mean, I was sitting there this weekend and I'm keeping track, and I was putting the results on the website as I'm watching football over the weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And you know what? Honestly, she could have had only 2 losses if it weren't for your wife's favorite quarterback.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
Mayfield screwed Ziggy the first game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, trust me. I looked right at her and said, this is your fault. This is 100% your fault.
It is her fault because Ziggy would have had a win right off the bat. That game I thought was a sure deal.
You know what she said to me after I said that? She looks at me and goes, never turn your back on Mayfield. I'm like, what? No.
Why? Because he'll fuck you? I mean,
she thinks he is God's gift of football.
He's not. That was a fluke.
No, he's not.
She realizes that's a fluke, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's all a joke of why she likes him. You know, the whole joke is, if you remember the commercials he used to do, the Baker Mayfield at home when he was in Cleveland, and she got a kick out of those. And we ended up going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of one of those shows. It's the one where Baker Mayfield receives the rock and roll boots. He goes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's Alice Cooper.
Yep.
Yeah, like when we were literally discussing what we were going to do over Thanksgiving one year, that commercial came on. She says, Baker Mayfield says, we need to go to Cleveland. I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
What? And ever since then, it's this house has been a Baker Mayfield house.
Jesus. I feel so sorry for you.
When she saw he was at the Panthers, she right away started looking up ticket prices. I'm like, we're not going to go. Like, I like the Panthers. I think they're a good team, but I don't want to spend money on going to watch them unless they're playing a team that I like also.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. There's one analyst, and again, football talk on Darkness Radio. There was one analyst that said there's the potential that Baker Mayfield could be a decent quarterback with the Rams because they've got the right system.
Yeah.
That they operate in the right system, that he could have some success. They've got speedy receivers. They've got a line that could potentially give him some time. They've got somewhat of a running game that could spell him, that he doesn't have to make, he doesn't have to make too many decisions, that he could actually survive in this system, that he could, it's kind of like Alabama. It's kind of set up for him.
Yeah.
That he could possibly run the table with the team and do all right. But then what do you do next year? What do the Rams do next year? I don't think they sign him to a long-term deal. I don't think this is his home.
They're not giving up Stafford.
No. So
Stafford won him a Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was Stafford. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That was Stafford and the coach having a good relationship.
Yep.
And that's why they won the Super Bowl.
And Stafford's more accurate. That's the thing. He's more accurate downfield. So, it's a pipe dream if you think Baker Mayfield is the future of the LA Rams.
And the best thing is all this talk you and I do like this when we're off the air, Ziggy listens to. So I think it's subconsciously getting in her brain, and that's why she's choosing the way she's choosing.
I think so, yeah.
Because what fans don't know, this is what you and I usually talk about off air. So we don't get on a rant on air.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have Ziggy's picks a little bit later, and we'll let you know on the air here, folks. And then we'll post it on the website, darknessradioshow.com. You can refer to that and get Ziggy's picks. And then if you want, again, you can bet along the line with Ziggy, tell us how you do, or you can disagree with Ziggy's picks and tell us how you do. But if you bet along with Ziggy last week, you did all right. You would have done pretty good. Yeah, you did all right. You did all right. We got a Parashare letter here, Bruiser. It's from CJ. It says says Tim and Bruiser Bear. Ooh, Bruiser Bear. Wednesday story about ghost sightings and talking about energy at the time of death made me want to talk about some stories regarding that. When I was 16, my mom's brother was dying from cancer. One night I got a phone call that I needed to go to the hospital and say goodbye to my uncle. As I walked into the room, my head hurt and I had a bout with what felt like my blood sugar flatlining, and I couldn't stand. I had to be walked out of the room, and when I was asked what was happening, I said someone powerful was in the room that I couldn't see. Once it passed, I walked back into the room to my uncle saying, "It's okay. Mom is here to take me where I need to go." His mom, my grandmother, died in her 40s from cancer. He passed just shortly after. Within the next year, I had a dream that I was on the other side. I first arrived in a large room where spirits were walking back and forth, pacing. At the front of the room were two beings, I'll call them. They were something between an angel and an ancient Egyptian, like we see on tombs. Between them was a doorway or portal type thing. These beings asked me if I wanted to go through. Before I could answer, I was forced to a large white room. I say it that way because it had no walls. It was just huge and pure white. In the room, there were tons of people. As I neared a side of the room were fancy tables like the metal or iron fancy ones outside a cafe. At the table was my uncle. He looked amazing in the suit we buried him in. Interesting fact, my uncle is buried in a row over from Roger Maris. To find him, I have to find Maris first. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All these people kept walking up to him and saying hello and hugging him and shaking hands. People wanted to sit across from him in the other chair, but he wouldn't let anyone. He kept pulling the chair in with his foot. I'll tell you why in a minute, she says. I noticed above and between the tables were these small windows. I tried to get close to see out of them, but couldn't. Never got to it. I'll tell you what's outside of them in the second story. There's a second story here. I got to see in another dream. When I woke up, I told my mom and I asked who the car salesman was that was talking to my uncle. He looked like a cross between the traditional 70s car salesman and Larry Tate from Bewitched. Interesting. She laughed and said that was her uncle that died when I was maybe 2. I also described an elderly woman who was tall and slender with a really short haircut from early maybe 50s or 60s, with the ends of her hair curled and wearing a bright rainbow sweater with long sleeves. But I remember knowing it wasn't actually literal, that the colors in her sweater represented her vibrant personality. Not sure how I knew that. My mom told me that was my grandfather's cousin. It was a party on the other side, a welcome home party. Oh, and that chair? He kept the chair empty because my grandfather, his dad, passed away almost to the day a year later. The email was so long, I'll send the second story in a separate email. I do have that separate story, but we'll keep it for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Speaking of ghosts, ghosts, we'll move on with ghost stories.
Oh, definitely.
Because we've got 4 of them this week that have to do with supernatural news.
I think we're going to be pretty busy through the holidays.
Yeah.
You and I said, we think the veil's thin this time around, too.
Exactly. I think this time of year is when people start to see ghosts. We'll give you one we covered yesterday on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. A Louisiana man was arrested in Utah for allegedly running from demons. But were they demons? We won't spoil it yet, quite yet. In a bizarre hold my beer and watch this moment in Utah last week, a Louisiana man was arrested for allegedly running from demons. 26-year-old Malcolm Van Buren of Louisiana is accused of stealing a car in Brigham City, Utah last week, and soon after crashing into a pole in Logan, Utah. Before crashing, Van Buren was clocked traveling at speeds up to 110 miles an hour. According to his arrest report by Utah Highway Patrol, observers calling 911 reported that Van Buren's vehicle was passing others in the median and emergency lane, running traffic lights, and traveling at an extremely high rate of speed. According to official documents, law enforcement was able to apprehend Van Buren roughly 2 blocks from where he crashed after a foot chase. Statements by officers on the scene say Van Buren appeared to be hallucinating when he was taken into custody. The booking affidavit said that Van Buren was making strange statements, seemed to be hallucinating, and thought that demons were out to get him and that they were going to kill him. Now, Van Buren submitted to a drug test, Bruiser.
No.
And what happened?
I'm guessing he had some sort of methamphetamine in him.
Ding, 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 ding. Of course he did. He was tested positive for methamphetamine and amphetamines. Unfortunately, it wasn't
probably
the
been
devil.
awake for 3 or 4 days at this point in time.
Running from everything, not just the devil. In the end, our stellar representative of the state of Louisiana.
Do you think that's how it started? Is he got in the car that he stole? And he's all high on meth. He gets in the car. He turns on the radio, and Van Halen running with the devil's blasting. And he's like, the devil!
The devil!
The devil!
Where's the devil? Probably, yeah. That probably is what happened.
Yeah.
In the end, our stellar representative of the state of Louisiana was charged with receiving a stolen vehicle, failure to stop and respond at the command of a police officer, possession of a controlled substance, driving with a measurable controlled substance, reckless driving, accident involving property damage, speeding, and a partridge in a pear tree because it is the holiday season. And as you can tell, they really threw the book at him. All in all, Van Buren was booked into the Cache County Jail on suspicion of 2 felonies, 4 misdemeanors, and an infraction, and maybe even an infarction, because, you need a gift at the holiday season. So there you go.
Hopefully those demons don't get him in prison.
That's true. He's in a jail cell. He's cooped up.
Exactly.
The demons could come and get him after all. We're going across the pond, Bruiser, where ghostly activity was so severe at Eagle Market that the council has issued a leaflet to its residents.
This is amazing.
Yep.
I would love to get one of these.
Exorcisms were performed to rid the center of its spooky paranormal activity, although the details were said to be repressed to avoid affecting sales. A Derby market is said to be...
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to affect sales. It's the holidays.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's the holidays. I get it.
You got to
damn exorcisms.
You got to keep retail sales up. A Derby market is said to be so haunted by ghostly beings that the city council was once forced to issue a pamphlet entitled, get the name of this, Your Poltergeists and How to Deal with It.
So as you go in the market, you get this flyer.
I want one of these pamphlets.
I do
just
too.
To see
I do too. This needs to make it into my collection somehow.
Yeah. After witness reports of unusual goings-on continued, 2 exorcisms took place in the basement of one of its haunted shops to banish the spirits once and for all. Sightings at the Eagle Market in East Street included electrical devices turning themselves on, loud piercing screams, and vanishing beings thought to be departed staff members. How would you like to spend eternity at your shop?
No.
Mm-mm. These occurred in the late 70s and early 80s, so we're going back in time a little bit, and were reportedly kept quiet, partly for fear of a negative effect on sales within certain chain stores. These secrets were detailed in the book Ghosts of Derby by Wayne Anthony and Richard Felix, a good friend of our show, who is available, which is available to buy online. We may throw up the link just so you can buy that book. They explained how the source of the haunting premises potentially stem from a bloody battle which took place on the site of the present Eagle Center. The book states Ethelfleda, the Lady of Mercia, wife of Ethelred, Earl of Mercia, took Derby by storm in August 917 AD. The town at that time was led by the Danes, and the battle seems to have been a very fierce affair, resulting in many warriors being slain on both sides. During the assault, 4 of Ethelfleda's thanes were slain within the gates of the city to suggest that the town was fortified. The authors explained how this site is at the center of the dispute as to whether a castle existed in Derby. They continued, whether there was a castle or not, what is certain is that over the centuries, the face of Derby was to change considerably. Domestic housing developments were to spring up all over the face of Derby as the Industrial Revolution unfolded in England. Several such developments were a group of streets, namely Bloom Street, Albion Place, and Albion Street, which were built near the alleged site of Derby Castle. Eventually, these streets and the houses in them were considered unfit for continued human habitation, and they were demolished to make way for a new covered shopping development as Derby tried to keep pace with similar developments in neighboring towns and cities. Today, we know this site as the Eagle Center, but although thousands of people are using the shopping center every week, it seems that very few are fully aware of what stood on the site previously. Even fewer people know that in the late 70s and early 80s, strange poltergeist phenomena and ghostly sightings were rife in the Eagle Center. This information was partly repressed for fear of an adverse effect on sales within certain chain stores. It would appear to the writer that these ghostly occurrences were due to the fact that not only was the Eagle Center built on a site where previously a whole community of people had once existed, it was also built on what may have once been a bloody battlefield where many warriors may have lost their lives. Specific accounts relating to 4 shops within the Eagle Center were recounted. The book explained. The following are accounts of some of the happenings that took place, witnessed by ordinary, everyday Derby people with no reason to fabricate information concerning the haunting of Eagle Center. At one outlet, a report included, on a Saturday morning, 2 members of the staff were in the basement of the shop when both experienced an icy cold feeling and became aware of a presence behind them. Turning around, they expected to see another member of the staff, but no one was present. They immediately heard a scream on one note, which gradually died away, and one was not unlike a woman screaming as if in pain. Well, that could have been over the sale prices. Just saying. Another shop.
It's an extreme couponer just walking around going, no!
No! How much for that? Another shop saw workers in the staff room report hearing and seeing coat hangers swinging on racks. A new girl, unaware of strange phenomena, reported seeing coat hangers swinging violently on a wall peg. An electric kettle, normally unplugged, was plugged in and the water near boiling point all without action by the staff. Somebody needed tea, I'm just saying.
Yeah, the ghost is like, it's tea time. Come on now.
Later on that day, the electric cooker was found to be switched on with all 4 rings red hot. It was time to eat, too.
Yeah, they wanted to make some bangers and mash.
That's right. At a third, there were 2 guitars stacked in 2 cupboard boxes, one above the other, near the counter at the rear of the shop. The top box fell or was pushed by unseen hands and hit the deputy manageress on the head. It was the ghost of the honky-tonk man. One lady present at the time described it as flying across, saying that it could not have fallen naturally in that direction. The final shop to experience unusual events had the manager arrive for work to find a basket of shoes had emptied onto the floor. He called a window cleaner over. What's a window cleaner going to do with shoes?
I don't know. Why is he asking the window cleaner where there's a bunch of shoes there?
I don't know. Together they searched the building but found nothing else untoward. Every shoe was out of the basket, the right way up, standing on their soles. Oh, that's kind of creepy.
That is.
Eventually, electrical appliances started switching themselves on, taps were found running, and a strange coldness pervaded parts of the building in several shops. As things continued to get worse, a determined bid to stop these hauntings resulted in an expert in the field of ghosts being called in, while a security firm was also tasked with investigating. The final straw came when a cleaner heard a woman's voice screaming or wailing, almost like a dog in pain. As such, she ran to the stairs and collapsed at the top, overcome with shock. After many years' service, she subsequently gave her notice and was too scared to return to the shop ever again. Several other peculiar incidents took place around this time, including a security guard seeing a 4-year-old girl in old-fashioned clothes locked in one of the higher-profile shops. It was then that it was decided by higher management within the center that professional help was needed. A specialist familiar in dealing with poltergeist and ghostly phenomena was called in. All staff were advised to keep a record of events and to report any strange incidents to a city council official who took charge of the situation. Copies of pamphlets entitled Your Poltergeist and How to Deal with It were distributed amongst shop workers, with an extract as seen below. Oh, I've got the contents of the pamphlet here. Are you ready?
Yeah, because I'm trying to look it up online.
Okay, I've got it here. I'll tell you the rest of the story, and then we'll read the pamphlet here. Many members of the staff from several of the shops were experiencing problems. They did make themselves familiar with the pamphlet, but the phenomena still continued, and it was eventually decided that perhaps the only way to finally solve the ghostly dilemma was to hold an exorcism. The book goes on to say, a meeting was arranged, and the Bishop of Derby, along with several other clerical experts from Sheffield, were consulted on the matter, and the meeting was held in the basement of one of the haunted shops. This allegedly took place in early December of 1983. The quote here is, I am also informed that a further exorcism took place several months after the first one and was said to have worked better than the first. The phenomena, however, was to continue for some time afterwards, although initially the ghostly appearances in the Eagle Center dwindled for many months. When the book was written in 1995, it was stated that even then, many staff who worked at the center were convinced that they had seen a ghost and several spirits. Interesting. Okay, so here's the pamphlet. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's an excerpt of the Derby Council Center's, an excerpt of the excerpt of the Derby.
Here comes that third grade one-eyed level
right.
again.
Thank you, Bruiser. Me and my one-eyed third grade level reading again. Here's the excerpt of the Derby City Council leaflet on how to deal with poltergeists. Are you ready? Yes. Number 1, poltergeists are quite common and have been recorded for many hundreds of years. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Number 2.
We got factual information. Awesome.
That's right. Well, at least I know what I'm dealing with and how old it is. So if I break out a birthday cake, we can exactly sing how old they are. At present, cases are being researched and documented in the United States, where the work of Dr. Ryan of Duke University and of Roll in the Morrises in England is noteworthy.
Again, thanks for the facts. What does that do with my poltergeist?
No idea. Number 3, many people down the ages and many today have and are suffering from the pranks of their poltergeist.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Thank you. That's why we called you.
That's right. So this was under A, it's history. These were the I don't know, the little tidbits under history. So
Gotcha.
B, it's nature. It says this is under the heading of it's nature.
Okay.
Number 1, it's not an illusion and can produce physical effects, which can be weighed, measured, and recorded, i.e., it can move things and it can produce noises. Okay.
I figured because the hangers are going crazy and the tap's coming on.
That's right. There were 5 other things that were not included in this excerpt. We go down to number 6. It is attached to and part of the mind of an owner or group of owners. All right.
So let's go find these owners and tell them
Stop
they
thinking.
got a poltergeist.
That's right. Stop thinking of the poltergeist. We go down to number 9 because the other 2 or 3 aren't in there. The poltergeist feeds on fear, although in fact it is harmless both to soul and body and is, in its way, a relief to the suffering mind.
Okay, so don't be afraid.
Yep. We got on to number 11 because they didn't include number 10. Its owner has no control over it and is unaware of its ownership.
Thanks again.
Yep. So under C, how to deal with it, they only give us 2 of the excerpts.
Okay.
Out of it. Number 12 and number 15. Once the pressures which have produced it are understood, the poltergeist will fade out.
Okay.
Okay.
So we just got to find out what the pressures are.
Right. And number 15, where premises have been affected, a ritual blessing will greatly help to calm the atmosphere of strain and fear.
Okay.
Okay.
So bless that little area. Gotcha.
Yeah. So find out where the pressure is. The poltergeist will fade out. Bless it, and it shall fade. And
don't be afraid.
And don't be afraid.
Because it feeds off your fear.
It feeds off the fear. You got it, Bruiser.
There's got to be some of those pamphlets out there somewhere.
There has to be.
Got to be.
From 1983.
Yes.
Yeah. It's only almost 40 years old, but it's got to be out there somewhere.
People save their World Series pamphlets and Super Bowl booklets. Why can't they save this?
I still have Twin stuff from 1987. I got a Homer hanky.
I was gonna say I got wrestling stubs from back then.
Yeah. So there's got to be something.
Yeah. Let's
move on. A ghost-like creature is caught in detail thanks to different angles of security cameras. We go to Spain. The Spanish YouTube community has been abuzz with this strange footage that seems to show the ghost of a woman crawling across the ground. Yikes. Ooh. And even purports to have caught her on different cameras. The dark shadow has the shape of a woman with long hair and appears to be half crawling and half dragging her legs behind her on a street in the middle of the night. That would be a sight.
That would be creepy.
Yeah, yeah. Another angle shows the creature from above, and more clearly it seems to be a woman with a skeleton face doing some sort of upside-down crab walk that looks right out of any horror movie.
That would be creepy, too.
Yeah.
They added that scene in The Exorcist where she does that down the crab walk down the stairs. And I just I never thought of the crab walk as creepy till that moment.
Yeah, exactly. The terrifying entity does its crab walk with erratic and jarring unnatural movements that bring to mind the 2002 movies The Ring and The Grudge. Okay, that would be weird. Yeah. Which both feature a poltergeist-like young girl from beyond the grave. Eagle-eyed viewers may notice the first 2 camera angles shown are exactly the same, with one just flipped as a mirror image to make it appear from a different camera. The third shot is from a different camera and angle, but could more plausibly be a human woman pulling a prank. It says here in the article, we strongly hope the footage is faked because it is all too creepy. Let me see here. Is there actually a link to the footage? I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw this link up on the description of the show, and we'll let you see it for yourself.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it.
Yeah, and
it's as creepy as they say.
You can judge for yourself whether this is real or faked. We move on. A man sees a nurse ghost standing outside his home, and now he sleeps with his light on. I don't know. Is a nurse ghost really that scary?
I don't think so. What's sleeping with your light on going to do? You can still see it.
Yeah.
It's not like ghosts go away when you turn the light on.
I could use the help around the house, so I'm not sleeping with the light on. I think I'd leave the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And for some guys, it's kind of the fantasy. I'm not going to lie. So, come on in, honey. A forklift.
Just disappear before my wife comes home, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you could just fade into the woodwork when the missus comes home. A forklift truck driver was forced to sleep with the light on after he captured footage of the ghost of Nurse. Not really original. The ghost of Nurse standing outside his home before the figure.
What should we call this ghost? I don't know. What are they wearing? A nurse's outfit? Duh, nurse.
Ghost of Nurse. Duh. How about Florence Nightingale? There's one. So the ghost of Nurse was standing outside his home before the figure mysteriously vanished. Rob Williams, not to be confused with Robbie Williams, from, I believe this is Launceston in Cornwall, was getting ready to tuck himself into bed on November 13th when he received a notification on his phone that something had set off his motion sensor doorbell camera. These things are so handy, aren't they?
Like I said, I got one. I'm waiting to catch something.
The camera points at the steps to his top floor flat when it recorded footage of what seems to be a person standing at the bottom of the steps. However, when the light went out a few seconds later, the mysterious figure appeared. Rob then rewatched the footage in disbelief and realized that the strange figure was translucent rather than solid, leaving him convinced that it was a ghost and so petrified that he slept with the lights on that night. The 39-year-old said, "My outside cameras are motion activated, so obviously they only start that recording when something is physically there or sets it off, as well as the outside lights. I was getting ready for bed and I had a notification pop up, so I checked it out on live stream to see what I thought was someone standing at the bottom of the stairs." Now, I'm looking at a picture here, Bruiser. I'll show you in a second. At first I thought it might have been somebody drunk or just standing there, but it wasn't a solid figure. I watched it for about 20 seconds, and then the lights went off and there was nothing there. It proper freaked me out, he said. I couldn't really work out what it was. It proper freaked me out. I didn't know what it was, but it had the characteristics of a person. You can clearly see a head with a hat and the shape of a body, but it was slightly transparent. He added that he phoned his girlfriend straight away to tell her what he had seen. I don't know that I tell the girlfriend that a nurse is waiting at the door for me.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Rob said, "I literally got on the phone to my girlfriend and told her straight away. I sent her the clip and she was like, 'What the hell is that? And who are you cheating on me with?'" No, I'm kidding.
Which one of your friends sent over a stripper?
That's right. Why the strippogram? Aren't I enough? He said, "I've still got the video saved and I keep watching it again." I bet he does. "And the more I watch it, I think that's strange. You can troll the internet for ghost videos and some of them you think come off it. But this video is the strangest thing I've ever seen," Rob went on to say. When Rob posted the video online, he was met with some skepticism about the ghost sighting, it's in quotes, with some commenters arguing that the figure is simply an illusion created by reflected light. Now, you know what? I tend to agree with that. Again, you know what? I'm going to show you this before we go any further here, Bruiser, because I want your opinion. I'm going to show you the picture without circles and see what you think.
It does look like something standing down there. But the light is the same color as the person standing there.
Yep.
And it looks like it's not a clear night.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's a foggy night, so that could just be where some fog's collecting.
Yep.
And it's just catching perfect from that light.
Yep. You see all the
and if it's a motion activated camera, if there's a tree or something around there and leaves fall in front of it, it activates the camera. I know because mine does.
Yep. Yeah, there's.
I see where they see the person.
Because you see, look.
But to me, it looks like a man in a business suit.
Yeah, I can see that too. Or I can see a red coat too.
Yeah, he's got some sort of like trench coat type thing, right? Yeah.
Yep. Now look off to the right of where the figure is, and you can see like a spray of light, like it is a foggy night.
Yep. That's what led me to believe it's a foggy night, and that's what made me believe that that's just a flare off the light.
Yep.
Because that's what it looks like. It looks like that's a projection from the flare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it looks a little suspicious because it's very foggy.
And then it goes away when the light goes off. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of foggy all over the picture, with the exception of well, not even up the stairwell. It looks kind of foggy too.
Yeah.
But they circle that exact figure, quote unquote.
Which it does look like a figure. Like I can see it being mistaken for a ghost. But when you actually break down the video,
yeah,
and you factor in weather and all that, like if I was just looking at it with not knowing anything, I wouldn't have thought it was a ghost.
No, I wouldn't either. I would think it was a light refraction.
Yeah.
Despite the backlash, a forklift driver insists that he has always had the same camera and light set up and has never seen or captured anything like this before. Other viewers were also convinced that the footage showed a ghostly figure, with one woman even messaging Rob claiming to be a medium. Oh boy. Yeah, that it communicated with the spirit in question. Are you ready for this?
How much is she charging him?
I don't know. Rob explained, I had a message pop through after posting the video online. I don't know the lady, but apparently she's a medium. She said she's always been gifted in that sort of aspect. She said the lady that came to visit me is called Helen, and she's got this whole backstory that she was a nurse that used to work in the big hospital, which used to have probably 30 seconds across from my building. The medium continued to tell Rob that the lady was 36 when she passed from influenza, and that she is a very kind spirit and didn't want to come any further because she felt like she was intruding and she didn't want to bother you. Oh my God.
Yeah, to you and I, it looked like a guy wearing an overcoat.
Yeah, it looks like a red coat. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like a guy wearing a trench coat carrying a briefcase.
Yeah.
Which can be the same the way it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yep. Rob says he has always been open to paranormal activity, as is his family, since his mom saw a ghost when she was younger. He now keeps a close eye out for any other paranormal activity near his home, but says he has yet to see the spirit again or any others, and he feels reassured that it isn't anything harmful. So there you go. Yeah.
They come out of the woodwork, don't they?
They do. I think it's funny that I see, to me, it looks like somebody turning their back on the door, not with their facing the door. And you're right. It looks like they're carrying a briefcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are full of shit. Not that Rob is, but I think that.
No, he didn't know.
I think the medium.
He thought he saw it, so he put it out for the public, opinion. What I think is funny is like a medium right away. Oh, I got this. Yeah.
That's the one that makes me giggle.
Yeah.
One more in the ghostly category today. A necklace unearthed in a medieval woman's grave is a once-in-a-lifetime discovery.
Really?
Yeah. Researchers say the woman may have been an early Christian leader with a large fortune. Is the grave robbery or archaeology? You decide.
Exactly.
Earlier this year, the Vistry Group, a housing developer, commissioned an archaeological evaluation of the land it planned to build on in North Hampshire, New England. Nobody had high expectations for this plot of land, which wasn't near any ruins, churches, or old landmarks. But just before the dig wrapped up, archaeologists discovered the remains of human teeth, and then something began to sparkle. And believe me, it wasn't the teeth, if you know what I mean, because I don't think I actually have my. I don't have my. No, that's the AI music. I don't have my rim shot up, if you know what I mean. When the first glints of gold started to emerge from the soil, we knew that this was something significant. Levante Bense Balaz, I believe it is, the site supervisor at the Museum of London Archaeology and leader of the dig, said to BBC News' Andrea Pluck. However, we didn't quite realize how special this was going to be. The archaeologists had discovered an early medieval grave, and while most of the skeleton had been decomposed, an ornate 30-piece gold necklace remained, dating to around 630 to 670 CE. It was made up of Roman coins, gold, garnets, painted glass, and semi-precious stones. A large cross pendant was at its center. Alongside the necklace, 2 pots and a copper dish were also unearthed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The find, as the Washington Post's Leo Sands put it, is being hailed as the most significant female burial site from the era discovered in Britain. Because of the necklace's presence, the researchers think the grave belonged to a woman, and not just any woman. According to the Guardian's Amelia Hill, experts think that the necklace's owner was one of the first women in Britain ever to reach a high position in the church. It's an
which is very rare back then.
Yeah, most definitely. It is an archaeologist's dream to find something like this, said Balazs when the museum announced the discovery on Tuesday. Per The Guardian, when researchers removed blocks of soil to study, X-rays revealed a second large elaborate cross. Beside it, they also found a unique silver casts, plural, of human faces with blue glass eyes. And actually, these are kind of creepy. Let me show you this one, Bruiser.
Oh, they sound cool.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Nope, they're creepy.
Yeah, they sound cool. Nope, creepy.
Nope, those are
Very creepy. When researchers removed... Oh, I already told you that. Yep, second elaborate cross. Creepy human faces. Due to the extravagant artifacts, experts think their owner was a woman of great wealth, as well as a religious figure, both an abbess, and a princess, perhaps, writes The Guardian. The find captures a unique moment in history when the two distinct religious traditions were at play at the same time. Burying people with lots and lots of bling is a pagan notion, but this is obviously a heavily vested in Christian I can't say it. It's a long day. You know, iconography.
Iconography.
There's my third grade reading level. Iconic. Ask Google.
What are they going to stop pulling stuff from the ground? I mean, haven't we learned from when we got the King Tut curse? Like, come on, guys.
Right. Hold on a second. We're going to ask Google here real quick because I've had enough. I'm tapping out here. Iconography. Iconography. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's ask Google.
Iconography.
Iconography. I can't do it. I can't. Bruiser, I've read so much, my brain is broken.
Your brain's like, nope, no more.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Does not compute.
And I can't ask Alexa next to me because she won't know what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. This is how it's pronounced. How's it pronounced? Come on, just say it.
Iconography.
Iconography.
There it is. Iconography.
Right. Iconography. That only took up most of the show.
We're both trying to find out how to say that word.
Iconography. No.
Hey, so whoever emailed about your poor reading skills, you're trying to make yourself better. This just proves it.
I am. I'm making myself better on the air. Iconography. Who else knows how to pronounce that? I don't.
Do
you know how to pronounce
I knew where you were going with it, though. I could see it in my head.
Iconography?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a mic in iconography?
Yeah.
Were you big on Mike and Ike?
No.
Were you more
Jujubes?
Jujubes? Were you a Jolly Joe's guy?
No, that's before my time.
Really?
I hate to say it, yeah.
Did you like hot tamales?
No, those I didn't like either.
Really?
I like the Boston beans.
Oh, Boston beans were good. Yeah. See, I was a hot tamales and Jolly Joe's guy. I wasn't a Mike and Ike guy.
I wasn't a Mike and Ike guy.
I
was the Boston beans and the Jujubes.
See, I may have a third grade reading level, but I can say Mike and iconography, Mike and iconography, Mike and iconography, Mike and iconography. See, I could do it at least 3 or 4 times. Mike and iconography. Mike and iconography. Mike and iconography.
That needs to be a shirt.
That's right. Mike and iconography. We'll make
and the old Mike and Ike logo.
That's right. And the old, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Little Mike and iconography for you. Okay.
It was like pink and white, wasn't it?
No, they were green. The boxes were green and yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. At least in my day, they were. Burying people with lots and lots of bling is a pagan notion. I'm going to try it out here. But this is obviously heavily vested in Christian iconography.
There it is.
Yeah,
yes.
I stuck the landing. See, I could just go back and edit now.
You can.
I could. I won't, though.
No, leave it.
Yeah.
That's us being us.
That's right. So it's that period of quite rapid change, says Simon Mortimer, an archaeology consultant. I could have screwed that one up, too, but I didn't. Archaeology. Kidding. Archaeology consultant who works on the project, per the Associated Press's Jill Lawless. After the researchers finish their analysis, the artifacts will go on display at a local museum. This find is truly a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the sort of thing you read about in textbooks and nudie magazines. I'm kidding. I threw that. That's from a song. And not
Penthouse letters. Dear Penthouse.
Dear Penthouse. I never thought I'd discover this. And not something you expect
and it goes into the whole thing of what he discovered. I love it.
Yeah, I found it in a hole in the ground.
The editors are like, this isn't sexy at all.
No. It's got creepy faces on it, too. I can't keep my heart on. That's something you expect to see coming out of the ground in front of you, said Mortimer in a statement. It shows the fundamental value of developer-funded archaeology. I know I said that wrong. It's iconography.
You're gonna have to work that in all week long.
Yep, iconography. I'm gonna be like, hey, guess what, Mom? I learned a new word, iconography.
You're gonna have to make it like Pee Wee Herman did, the secret word of the day, where when someone says it, we all cheer.
Iconography.
Perfect.
That's a secret word. Iconography.
And then we all yell, yeah.
Yay!
You did it! Secret word of the day.
I guess that's how you spell it.
Iconography! You know, my aunt had, at the tender age of her mid-30s, had a big Pee Wee Herman doll with a drawstring. I always wondered about her.
I like Pee Wee Herman.
I do
Pee Wee Herman was great.
I do too. I was very young, though, when the cartoons were, I should say when Pee Wee's Playhouse was out.
I wasn't.
I wasn't either. I'm lying.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. I remember that clear as day.
I know. I'm just joking. We had cartoon cocktails back in college on that. But I was just, I never went out and bought the merchandise. Just saying.
I had a Pee Wee Herman shirt. But that was later on.
Did you?
When it became vintage. I wanted a bike. Like I actually looked at getting the bike.
Did you?
Yeah. Instead I got the Lion light reflector holder that he has. I had got one of those for my bikes.
The one time I went to the Alamo, I looked for the basement.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I asked where the basement was. They're like, we hear that 10 times a day.
Well, thank Pee Wee.
That's right. You got Pee Wee to thank for that.
And you know what? Everybody does the dance when you hear tequila.
That's right.
I've not seen it. That's like there's two things. When you hear tequila, you do the Pee Wee Herman dance. Mm-hmm. And in Bohemian Rhapsody, when it gets to the hard rock part, everyone headbangs.
That's right.
Thank you, Pee Wee Herman. Thank you, Wayne's World.
That's right. And thank you, Danhausen, for keeping that alive.
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready, set? You ready, set?
Let's go.
You ready,
Let's
set?
go.
All right.
Is this nightmare fuel now?
Yep. I warned you. It's that time of the show where we all cower under our desks.
I love that you used the picture of the girl, too, as last week's cover. I didn't need to have that haunt me in my dreams.
Yeah, you got to see it, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, you showed me before, but then every time I reshared or retweeted or went to listen to the show, it's right there.
There she is with her little red eye looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nightmare fuel.
Yep.
Brain-computer interfaces could create, I can't even say it, could create AI-controlled super soldiers. That's our first AI story today.
So literally, they're creating Terminators.
They're creating the Terminators, buddy.
That's literally what you just described. It's the Terminators.
Yep. The ethical considerations of brain-computer interfaces are likely to be a hot topic in the coming decades. By the way, the second story and last story I have today for AI is going to freak people out.
This already freaks me out. They're trying to put stuff on our brains now.
Imagine that a soldier has a tiny computer device injected into their bloodstream that can be guided with a magnet to specific regions of their brain. With training, the soldier could then control weapon systems thousands of miles away using their thoughts alone. Embedding a similar type of computer in a soldier's brain could suppress their fear and anxiety, allowing them to carry out combat missions more efficiently. Going one step further,
or they create serial killers.
Exactly. Or have serial killers control the robots.
Yeah.
Yep. Do this here. serial killer robots. That's right. Boy, oh boy. Going one step further, a device equipped with an artificial intelligence system could directly control a soldier's behavior by predicting what options they would choose in their current situation. While these examples may sound like science fiction, the science to develop neurotechnologies like these is already in development, Bruiser.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Let's take the funding away from that and fund feeding the homeless.
I agree. Hey, brain-computer interfaces, or BCI, are technologies that decode and transmit brain signals to an external device to carry out a desired action. Basically, a user would only need to think about what they want to do, and a computer would do it for them. I say we use this for like missing limbs. We could do this for missing limbs. We don't need to do this to shoot and kill people.
No. Do it for someone that loses an arm because they served our country.
Right. We don't need to do it to kill people.
No.
Right. BCIs are currently being tested in people with severe neuromuscular disorders and people who read at a third grade level. I threw that in there to help them recover everyday functions like communication and mobility. For example, patients can turn on a light switch by visualizing the action and having a BCI decode their brain signals and transmit it to the switch. Likewise, patients can focus on specific letters, words, or phrases on a computer screen that a BCI can move a cursor to select. However, ethical considerations have not kept pace with the science. While ethicists have pressed for a more ethical inquiry into neural modification in general, many practical questions around brain-computer interfaces have not been fully considered. For example, do the benefits of BCI outweigh the substantial risks of brain hacking? Haven't thought of that one, have we?
No, not at all. There's video games about it.
Yep. Information theft, which is a big one.
Yeah, because all that's up in your head.
That's right. And behavior control.
Yeah, you could create serial killers.
Yep. Should BCI be used to curb or enhance specific emotions? What effect would BCIs have on the moral agency, personal identity, and mental health of the user? Could it literally drive someone insane?
See, here's where I'm a 12-year-old little boy, where I just feel like, hey, watch this, I'll make him hard. Look at that, he's got a big wiener now. Look at that. Watch, I'm going to make him fart. Look at that, he's in the elevator. He made a fart.
He shit himself.
Like, that would be 12-year-old me with my control of it.
That'd be 35-year-old me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that would be me now.
Yeah, exactly. These questions are of great interest to us, and a philosopher and neurosurgeon who studied the ethics and science of current and future BCI applications has also gotten into that, considering the ethics of using this technology before it's implemented could prevent its potential harm. The writer of this article argues the responsible use of BCI requires safeguarding people's ability to function in a range of ways that are considered central to being human. They go into different ways and means of how to use this technology, including expanding BCI beyond the clinic, utilitarianism, neural rights, human capabilities, and more. We won't get into that. We're just thinking nightmare fuel.
Yeah, if they want to know what's going to happen, go watch Demolition Man or Total Recall.
That's right. That's right.
That's what happens when you mess with people's brains.
Yeah, that's for sure. The nightmare capabilities alone are enough to want to put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's coming, Bruiser. It's coming.
Like you said, do it to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it
Screw
to
the
help.
emotional thing. Do it to make someone be able to feel something with a lost limb.
Yeah, exactly. Help people who are missing limbs, help people who need that type of interface, but don't
help the blind see, help the deaf hear.
Yeah.
So much you could do.
Yeah, exactly. But not using it in weapons of war, that's for sure. By the way, that cute little app you've been using lately, that one that makes you look so much better on your social media profile.
Oh, I haven't even touched it.
That one that AI, that Lensa AI app.
Yep.
Guess what?
What?
It's using your image to make nudie pictures. And you can't even control it.
Really? So all the people that I had it done, there's nudie pictures of them probably.
Yep. Lensa AI owner is saying that the company's face-changing tech can be tricked into generating not safe for work images, but some users are saying it happened to them without even trying.
Oh, okay.
Lensa AI is saying that's impossible, but can't even control your own facial image. Isn't that surprising?
This is terrifying.
I've seen two stories now this week that say once you submit your face into the Lensa AI app, one, you don't control your facial features at all. Think of this now, folks. Your face controls your Face ID in your Apple products. Okay? So think of how you can be hacked now in Apple products. Your Face ID can be used anywhere at any time to get into any of your information.
Yep.
But no one's thought of that. They just think, oh, it makes me look cool. Second, I've seen a second story that says, by the way, Lensa owns your image. Owns your image anywhere. Although they
from someone whose image was used for advertising.
Although Lensa,
there's a lot of paperwork that goes into that.
Lensa claims the image is destroyed once they've used the image. I don't think that's true. I think it's being stored.
I think it is too. And they're going to use it for either their advertising or they could even possibly sell it.
The third thing is that Lensa AI has ties to Russia.
Great.
So, good luck to you if you've been using the app. The Lensa app creates face-changing effects using machine learning and photos uploaded by the user. Some users have received images of themselves portrayed in the nude thanks to AI-generated edits. The company says Lensa can be tricked into making nudes, but some users...
That'd be our problem because we say beer and boobies and beer.
Yeah.
So our phones hear that. So if we did it, all of a sudden there's you and me with our heads holding beer with giant boobies.
Tasteful nudes like David. But some users say they didn't upload not safe for work images. It doesn't matter though.
No, it doesn't.
Lensa's taking over and putting your head on those nudes.
Yeah.
The trending Lensa app, currently the top photo app in the Apple and Google Play stores, generates artistic edits based on user uploaded reference photos. But its machine learning technology appears to be creating unintentional nudes of its users.
AI is a pervert.
It is. And it's a randy
AI,
one.
subscribe to my OnlyFans. Come on now.
That's right. Everyone will have an OnlyFans after this. So the quote is, okay, so I put my hottest 20 pics into Lensa instead of just the first 20 selfies I could find, and it came back with a bunch of AI-generated nudes, one user wrote on Twitter. To be clear, none of the photos I submitted included nudity, which the app specifically prohibits. Whoops.
There was a nip slip somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah. The sentiment was echoed by dozens of others, mostly women, saying the app had automatically generated sexualized or outright nude photos of them, despite avoiding not safe for work reference photos in their uploads.
So the AI is just like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm showing you nude.
Yeah.
You look like nude.
Boobies and beer and boobies, says Lensa AI. We're all for it.
I'm kind of curious if I did it, if it would be flattering or like, oh, that's how I look.
Yeah, really.
I'm not going to do it.
Well, Lensa parent company, Prisma Lab CEO and co-founder Andrei Yuzoltsev, I want to get the Russian pronunciation correctly so that you all can let that ruminate in your head for a minute, told TechCrunch such images can't be produced accidentally by the app. He said it could be provoked to create nude images through intentional misconduct. That's a quote.
That doesn't make any sense.
Such as uploading nudes against the terms of service, which prohibit uploading content that is obscene, pornographic, indecent, lewd, suggestive, or otherwise sexualized. So in other words, give it an inch, it'll take it a mile.
Yeah.
So show it a little bit of cleavage, it'll give you the full Monty.
Yeah.
Right? Though it is unclear how often the app generates nude imagery without prompting, multiple users report this was the case for them. Another user posted on Twitter, strange thing is, I didn't submit any nudes since it would go against this Lensa app's policy, yet it ended up generating nudes anyway. Right?
Are they happy about it? Are they sad about it? Like, they're kind of in the middle there.
I think they're confused, dismayed.
Yeah, like, why can't I send in my nudes, but you're going to send me my nudes?
Right. Of particular concern among some users are whether the app somehow accessed photos from internal storage that hadn't been uploaded, and if the app's privacy policy allows data generated by the app to be used by third-party companies like Google Cloud Platform and Amazon Web Services.
So it's hacking you.
Well, essentially what it does is it grabs your likeness, and it can use your likeness because you agree to this in the terms of service. You agree that the image can be used in other platforms.
Okay, so it's searching everywhere for you.
Yeah. So it can take those AI images.
Yeah.
And it can use them on other platforms.
Right.
So if you're agreeing to Lensa AI, like right now, Amazon Web Services is available on my Alexa.
Right.
I could run across your nude Lensa AI image potentially on my Amazon Web Services if I'm searching Lensa AI services.
Yeah.
So you're out there in nude, baby. So here's another quote. Lensa users, did you receive a highly sexualized image in your avatar package? One troubled user wrote on Twitter. I received a topless, full frontal nudity image in my package, and I'm concerned. I'm worried about whether the app accessed other images on my phone and about the rights to that image.
So it's people have taken nudies on their phone to send them to other people are worried that they're hacking.
That the Lensa app hacked them.
Yeah, it's going to turn into the fappening all over again, where a bunch of celebrity phones got hacked.
Either that, or it's using the ones that are sexualized. In other words, by sexualized, they're meaning maybe a little too much deep cleavage, and the app is taking that inch to a mile.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yuzoltsev told TechCrunch the tech is being used to generate the photo edits, and it's learning as it goes. And though it has some content moderation practices, can still be outsmarted by users or act in unpredictable ways, resulting in the output of nude edits. So it's not infallible. We specify that the product is not intended for minors and warn users about the potential content. We also abstain from using such images in our promotional materials, Yuzoltsev told TechCrunch. To enhance the work of Lensa, we are in the process of building the not safe for work filter.
Oh, geez.
It will effectively blur any images detected as such. It will remain as the user's sole. It will remain at the user's sole discretion if they wish to open or save such imagery. Representatives for Prisma Labs did not immediately respond to Insider's request for comment, and this was an article that was published in Business Insider. So this is a mainstream publication. This is not coming from a fringe website.
No, it's mainstream. It's out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
This is not an article made up about the Lensa AI website. It's out there. It's happening.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens a year from now. You know.
Yeah.
All the information that was stolen. Someone's going to steal from that app.
Yep.
Something's going to happen. They're going to be able to go back to that app and be like, "This is what it was."
Now, here's the thing to be aware of is you might have celebrities out there that are using the Lensa AI site that may not have, you mentioned the fappening, things like that may have nude photos on their phone that haven't been stolen online, that all of a sudden may have nude Lensa AI pictures that are gotten hold of.
Yep, because they decided to do it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen all over again.
And you may have regular people that happen to have photos that were meant to be shared between significant others that were never meant to be shared with anybody, that all of a sudden this Lensa AI technology has generated a nude AI photo, and now it belongs to somebody else because the AI is out of control.
And that could ruin lives.
It can. Yes, absolutely.
Not everybody wants that out in the world.
It can put jobs in jeopardy.
Exactly.
So there you go, folks. That's why you have to be weary of and not be the first one on the block to use these different filters.
Yeah, just don't use it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
You can be left out of this one.
Yeah, I didn't. The minute I first saw it and saw AI generated, I went, no, thank you.
Yeah, and I was commenting on people like, you're being dumb. You know, people are saying, oh, you're putting graphic artists out of work. You're putting artists out of work. No, they're not. They're doing far worse. They're putting themselves in jeopardy.
Yeah. You're putting yourself in jeopardy first before you're putting any graphic artists out of work.
Right.
Yeah. So just be aware, folks, that AI technology is out there, and it is a little dangerous.
Nightmare fuel.
Nightmare fuel.
We don't just preach it because we like it. It's true.
It's true. It's true. It is dangerous. So here's the deal. We have 3 stories left, and they all are animal related. Do we want to do Ziggy's picks now, or do you want to do them after these 3 stories?
Well, I don't have her picks, actually. We're doing those after we record.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send them to you so you can post them on the website, and I'll post them on social media.
Okay. So keep that in mind, folks. Look to darknessradioshow.com for Ziggy's picks, or look to Bruiser's social media. We'll also put them up on our social media as well.
But next week, I'll be able to do them on the show because I won't be fresh off the road and exhausted.
Okay. All right.
and she was exhausted too, as I said.
Sure. Okay. So look to social media, look to darknessradioshow.com for Ziggy's picks. Hopefully we'll get video and we'll be able to, if we do, we do. If not, we'll have the listing on darknessradioshow.com.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to compress it down and get it to you. That's all it is.
Cool. Sounds good.
We'll figure it out.
Even if you put it up as a YouTube video, you can share the YouTube video and I'll throw it on the...
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It'll be easy.
Right. So 3 stories left today on Supernatural News. This one's kind of sad.
Oh,
I'm
not good.
Not going to lie. You know, we talk about Loch Ness Monster all the time.
Yeah.
And if there's proof of Loch Ness Monster...
Right.
This story happens on the British coast. They're saying they may have found the remains of a baby Nessie washed up on the British coast.
That is sad, but then again, that's hopeful because it could show that species is out there.
True. Photos of the bizarre sea creature posted online have sparked a lot of controversy and speculation. Among the most popular was baby Nessie. Quote here is, found something on the beach the other day. Does anyone know what it is? Asked the user, posting these pictures in the British community on Reddit. The creature has a flat, rounded head, 4 flippers, and fins of various sizes and a long tail. Its body is dark gray with white spots, and its head down to its tail. I'll show you a picture here in a second, Bruiser. The post gathered more than its 500 comments with suggestions, the most logical of which was that it's an ordinary stingray in which someone or something evenly and diligently cut off its quote-unquote wings, or it was done by some kind of predator who gnawed the stingray well. As for those who suggested that this was the Nessie cub, such types of ancient sea lizards as plesiosaur or a Leoplorodon were named. Both are characterized by 4 fins and a long neck. There have been comments that some fishermen carve the wings of stingrays alive and then throw the remains into the water. It's possible that this was an unfortunate victim that the author of the photo discovered. Unfortunately, the author of the photo did not indicate when or where these remains were found and whether anyone did any research on them. Let me get the photo up here so you can take a look at it, Bruiser, and you tell me, carved up baby stingray, or is that a baby Nessie?
I can tell you what it's not.
What's that?
Definitely not a whale dick.
That's true. It's not a whale dick.
It does look like a carved up stingray, though. I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Okay. Tell you what, I think I'll throw this one up in the description as well. And you can take a look for yourself, folks, and you tell us. You know, the more I look at it, yeah, it could be Could be a.
Just if you kind of straighten it out a little bit, and you can add the missing wings.
Yep.
And if you look where it's like kind of, it essentially looks like gills, but that could be like serrations too.
Yep. I got you. Got you there. Okay, let's see here.
It's not a whale dick though, so.
Yes, thank God somebody didn't castrate a whale. throw it on the British coast shore. There's a viral video out there of a strange red animal that has left social media users baffled. The creature in this footage looks like a strange cross between a wolf and a fox, but it turns out it's neither.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a definite size difference between a fox and a wolf.
That's true. They aren't the same. That's for sure.
No, you can clearly tell the two apart.
Right. At a glance, you might be forgiven for thinking that this particular four-legged creature is some sort of digital manipulation or CGI creation, yet it is actually a very real animal. Furthermore, it is neither a fox nor a wolf, despite exhibiting the characteristics of both. The animal is, in fact, a maned wolf, a rather unique species of canine found in parts of South America, in particular in Brazil, Peru, Argentina, Bolivia, and Paraguay. With the color and markings of a fox, a distinctive mane, and abnormally long legs, these animals have been often mistaken for cryptozoological creatures and have appeared in several viral videos. One video in particular has been doing the rounds for at least a year, and many believing it to be fake or some other sort of digital manipulation. The maned wolf joins the ranks of other animals, such as the Brahma chicken. I think you wrestled the Brahma chicken, didn't you?
Yeah, that was in Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo, yeah. And the giant isopod, creatures that undoubtedly exist, but that are unusual or surprising to see because most people don't seem to know about them. Interesting creature, actually. Here, I'll give you a look at this thing. Take a look at that. Look at the mane on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely fox, wolf.
Yeah, fox-wolf hybrid, and it's got what looks like a fuzzy back of the neck.
Yeah.
If you can imagine.
Black.
Yeah, imagine a wolf with a merkin. That's the only way to describe it. Yeah. But it's on the back of its neck.
Yep.
Yeah, like a wolf with a toupee.
Wolf with a mullet.
Yeah, a wolf with a mullet. That's perfect.
Like a wolf with a mullet and a fox body.
Yeah, exactly. And finally today on Supernatural News, a story that's most strange. And there could be, the reason I say I don't have a UFO story today is because we don't know if this is a UFO related story.
Okay.
In fact, we don't know what happened to these particular cows in your neck of the woods, Bruiser. It takes place in North Carolina. Cows have fled a live nativity scene in North Carolina and have escaped downriver.
Okay.
But we don't know why. Okay. The bovine duo, this sounds like Bat, Moo, and Robin, certainly weren't feeling the Christmas spirit when they did a runner from a chapel last week. The bizarre escape, which occurred at the Seaside Chapel in the community of Carolina Beach in North Carolina, happened during a live nativity scene involving a number of farmyard animals. Seemingly fed up with the performance, the two cows fled from the chapel, jumped into the shallow part of the Cape Fear River, and attempted to make a break for the opposite bank. It wasn't long before local police officers had become involved in attempting to capture the beasts. When you're a police officer in a small island community, you may get some unusual calls, the Carolina Beach Police Department wrote on Facebook. Such was the case yesterday as officers from the CBPD were dispatched to assist the CB State Park Rangers with rounding up some loose cows. The subject escaped their pen at Seaside Chapel, where they were performing in the live nativity scene. After ending up in the Cape Fear River, the cows were eventually corralled by officers and rangers with assistance by community members and a canine with specialized herding skills. I didn't know that you could be a canine with herding skills in the police department.
They have them.
I guess. We are thankful for all the efforts to achieving a happy ending, the police said in their Facebook post. Interesting how cows just take off out of a nativity scene when they're perfectly docile and happy.
Hey, Bessie, you done with this? Yeah, I'm done with this. All right, let's get out of here.
Could it be that the star was played by a UFO?
Oh.
And they got out of Dodge.
Yeah, they're like, nope, we've been here before.
Yep.
We've seen this happen.
So that's our final story here on Supernatural News today.
They're like, move over, we're leaving.
Move over, we're getting out of here. The baby Jesus can fight this one off.
Yep.
That's for sure.
We've seen these great people. We're done.
So, Bruiser, where are you headed this weekend?
I'm in Bristol, Tennessee on the 17th, and then I'm taking off till after the new year. I'm going to rest the good old body and spend some time with family.
Who are you taking on this weekend?
I'm in a tag team match. It's me and one of my students, actually, named JAC, against AJ Kazania and Silas. I forget his last name. Big burly men, big burly cowboys. It's for Imperial Pro Wrestling.
Very nice, very nice. I believe I'm up in St. Cloud at KNSI this weekend, so I've got my weekend carved out for me.
You're going to get you some, what is it, Julia?
Oh, Jelly Bean and Julia.
Jelly Bean and Julia, yeah.
Let me tell you, my friend, the Wing King, the Wing King has been busy over in Anoka. If you haven't been over to Jelly Bean and Julia's lately, if you're in Minnesota, go over there. As you're doing your holiday shopping, head over to the Halloween capital of the world in Anoka. Check out Jelly Bean and Julia's.
We have, it's called Christmas Town USA, McAdenville. Mm-hmm. Every year, they put on like world record Christmas lights and stuff. We might check those out some weekend.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. When I went over there, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, Bruiser, I walk in and the Wing King and his queen have a whole table and they've got every single hot sauce out.
No, okay.
Okay. And they're doing a taste test. So I walk up to the Wing King himself and I say, "What are you doing?" And he said, this is what gets me. This is why I love Corey. So he says, one guy comes in, he tries the Triple X burger, which is supposed to be really, really hot.
Yeah.
And it is really, really hot. I don't say supposed to be. It is hot, right?
Okay.
He says, one guy says, well, it ain't that hot. This thing will have your ass shooting fire. I mean, it will. It is just on the Scoville scale. I don't remember what it is on the Scoville scale, but I don't dare take a bite of this thing, right?
Okay.
Because I'll be in the emergency room. It's that, to me, it's that hot.
Yeah.
But this guy eats it and he goes, "Nah, it was warm," which gets Corey fired up. So they put out all of their hot sauces so you can try each one. And the queen of Jelly Bean and Julia is there. The Wing Queen, I'll call her.
Okay.
The boss. She's there, and she's the one who makes all the hot sauces.
Okay.
Now they have, and I'll tell you, it's absolutely exquisite. She actually raises the peppers that all the hot sauces are made from.
Okay.
And they have one, Bruiser, I'll tell you, that is a Concord grape hot sauce that will absolutely burn your insides out if you love that sort of stuff.
I'm not into that stuff, so I'll save it for somebody else.
It is sweet heat. If you love sweet heat, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They have got some of the most original hot sauces I've ever seen in my life. And I'm thinking this weekend I may go pick up a hot sauce for my brother-in-law because my brother-in-law, my nephew, they all love hot sauces. So I'm thinking just for an extra holiday treat for them, I'm going to pick one up this weekend.
There you go.
But they had all of these out. So they had a cracker to cleanse the palate for you if you wanted to try them, but they had these little spoons that you could, try each and every hot sauce. But they must have had 13 containers out that you could try different hot sauces. And they had everything from mango habanero to, to different varieties I had never heard of before. They're just original concoctions that Jelly Bean and Julia had tried. Had been put together that you could get in store, that you can get with your wings, you can get with your ribs, you can get with your brisket.
Okay.
That you can get with your burger if you want it with your burger.
Why were they doing it? Just because this guy complained about?
Yes, this is why Corey did it. He got it because this guy.
He's like, I'm going to get this guy.
I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get him. I'm putting them all on display. I'll light his ass up.
Yeah.
That was pretty much what it was. And I looked at him, I said, "This is all for one guy?" And he goes, "Well, essentially." He goes,
Yeah,
no,
because
but
he'll make sales out of it, of course.
well, yeah, he's gonna, and,
he's not an idiot, but it's like, wow, this is all inspired by one guy saying your hottest burger.
Exactly. You nailed it on the head, Bruiser. Essentially, they put out all the hot sauces for the holidays, and they want everybody to try them. Yeah. And it is to spark up sales, so to speak. But it was inspired by one guy who said, I don't think it's that hot. But I guarantee you, it's hot. I mean, even their mild is hot. I can only go as high as the apple bourbon sauce, which is amazing, but it's got a tiny, tiny burn to it. Just a tiny, tiny burn, more than enough for me.
Okay.
But I love, I don't think that Corey has it out. He's got a root beer sauce. That's amazing.
That's the barbecue you're telling me about.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a Dr. Pepper sauce and a root beer sauce that I absolutely love. The Dr. Pepper sauce he has quite frequently. He brings it in and out of the restaurant and on the menu. The root beer sauce. This is why I love him so much. This is why I'm Jelly Bean and Julia till the day I die.
Yeah.
He made up some root beer sauce for me and sent it home with me.
Look at that.
Yeah. He made me up some root beer sauce and some Dr. Pepper sauce and sent it home with me. And I'll tell you, I've been supping on that for 2 weeks. That's why I love it. So Corey, I love you, buddy. I've been using it religiously on everything here in the house. So, yeah. So that's my story. That's my barbecue story. So yes, I'll be swinging by Jelly Bean and Julia on Saturday. Yeah, as I come home from St. Cloud. Yeah.
I gotta get some of that root beer sauce.
I'm telling you, you know what? I'll see if I can maybe get some package and send it down to you.
Yeah.
I guess so. Closed circuit to Corey if he's listening to this. If he can maybe make me up a little bottle that can travel. I'd like to send some. Yeah. He keeps saying to me, you got to bring Bruiser by if he's ever.
I want to.
Minnesota.
You built this place up, so yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta get you over to Jelly Bean and Julia. I'm
in next time I'm in town.
All right, there you go. So that's enough promo, I guess, for the barbecue spot. Yes. But so now I'm hungry for barbecue again.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of that, it's way past lunchtime, but now I got to eat. On that note, we'll end the program. Tomorrow's show, interesting program. We're going to be talking tulpas.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, with a guy named Mason. He's got a book out there called Bark On.
Okay.
It's an interesting book. I'm following it as much as I can. We'll discuss this book because it is a little avant-garde.
Okay.
It's a little different. It's a little out there. But the idea of the book is creating tulpas and creating these thought forms and putting yourself into these thought forms. It's a little different, but we're going to be talking tulpas and thought forms tomorrow with Mason, and that's tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Like I said, interesting book, and I'm working my way through it. And an interesting scenario. We'll put it that way. It's going to be one of the more interesting shows we've done here on
I can't wait to listen.
Darkness Radio. Right. We're working our way towards the holidays, folks. And the Christmas holiday is on a weekend this year.
Yes, it is.
Saturday, Sunday. Normal shows as scheduled. We'll also have our normal shows during the Christmas break. Either way, whether Bruiser's here or I'll be here for shows. So you'll have shows throughout the Christmas and New Year's break. So whether we have Bruiser or Mally or Jess or whoever, you'll have me throughout the Christmas and New Year's break. So just be aware you'll have new shows throughout that time. Just making you aware throughout January and February, you'll have new shows as well. Although I am going to take a little bit of time off. I am going to have surgery, some heart surgery. It's a minor heart surgery. So that'll be happening in February. So I may need a week or two off, but we'll have some pre-recorded shows for you during that time. So you may have a week where we don't have supernatural news and we don't have
True crime.
Well, we'll have True Crime Tuesday, but we won't have Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, just so you're aware. Yep. So everything may be pre-recorded there. And so just so you're aware that that's what will happen during that week, probably. Just so I have a little time to recover. But
yes,
just to give everybody kind of a 1 week break there. And then we'll pick it up as needed from there. But that's about it. Bruiser, any last thoughts before we go?
No, just you be safe.
All right. Again, folks, check out darknessradioshow.com for Ziggy's picks and for Bob Dennis's Urban Legends Stranger Truth. That Wizard of Oz story is very interesting indeed. I want you to check that out. The true story behind the Wizard of Oz and what it truly means. It blew me away when I heard it. And get Ziggy's picks, and I'm excited to see what Ziggy picks this week for picks.
I am too.
So so those two things on darknessradioshow.com. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. We'll see you tomorrow for the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.